Hi, good morning everybody and welcome. This is Bob, Dr. Bob, welcoming you to week 5, reminding you that we're just about halfway through the course now and things are going along very well. I'm very impressed and pleased with the work I'm seeing from the students in this course. We're actually, the average score in this course is about 96%, so I have to tell you, this is one of the brightest groups that I've ever been associated with. So if I was wearing a hat, hats off to you. Okay, so just briefly a few things I want to talk about. This week, the discussion board is about interaction and groups. Now keep in mind that sociology is all about groups. That's what we study and how those groups interact with each other. And what we know is, the smallest groups is what we call a dyad, D-Y-A-D, and that consists of 2 people. But of course, group sizes vary. You have primary groups, which is usually your family, and then you have secondary groups. Could be the people in your class, people in your neighborhood, people you work with, and those grow exponentially. The people in the city, the people in the country, the people in the universe. So we study all kinds of groups of varying sizes, from the smallest groups to the largest groups, like racial groups, sex, gender, political ideology, religious groups, and you name it. We study that group and how they interact with each other. So in the discussion board this week, you probably saw from my post, I tried to talk about the different groups from the angle of the institutions, the groups I belong to in school, my family, religion, the polity, mass media. And I told you a little bit about that group interaction. And what you'll see is in terms of status within the group, quite often it's contextual. Again, as I mentioned in my family, at some points I'm a little higher up on the status ladder. On others, with others in my family, I'm not quite so high. And the same is true in the other groups of which I belong to. So anyway, hopefully that helps explain that a little bit. The other thing I want to talk about in terms of groups is we live in a society of labels, and we try to apply labels to people so we can box them into categories and then apply stereotypes to them as if we know everything about them, right? All Democrats are a bunch of liberals, and Republicans are a bunch of conservatives, and and what you'll find is within those groups there's a broad range of people who may believe parts of this and not accept parts of that, but they still consider themselves a member of that group. For example, the National Rifle Association, what they have found is among the membership of the NRA is over 60–70% of them think we need some tighter gun controls, right? But the politicians will attack the NRA because they're talking about the leadership, Wayne LaPierre, who is against any form of regulation and gun control. So, when we talk about membership in the NRA, we're not talking about a bunch of gun-wielding, gun-crazy, hicks or rednecks out there. We're talking about some very responsible people at some point. But again, there's a spectrum there. So that's what I want you to keep in mind when you're discussing your groups, is the fact that, try to avoid applying labels to these groups. Finally, let me just say this. Week 6 is coming up quickly. That's next week. You'll have your midterm exam in week 6. And remember, you have all week to work on that. It doesn't have to be submitted by Thursday. You have the entire week to work on it. Take your time. Use your notes. And I'll talk about this a little bit more as we go along. But use your notes from this course. Use the textbook. Please use the discussion board. Look, we have got some brilliant people in this class that write some outstanding discussion posts. And don't be afraid to look at what they've written and let that help guide you in your exams. So, and the quizzes too. Make sure you check out the quizzes. So that's about everything I've got for you this week. I hope you're having a wonderful week. It's a little rainy here in Oregon today and the last few days, but we need the rain, so I'm not complaining. Anyway, I will check in with you soon. Hope you're doing well, and bye.